What is up, fellow sneakerheads? This is Logan Going with Going's Kicks, and today I will be doing a how-to restoration video. So as you guys know, a lot of Jordans, after a while, the paint on the midsoles starts to crack. So today I will be teaching you guys how to repaint the midsoles of your Jordans. There's a lot of different Jordans this applies to, but today I will be working on this pair of Fire Red 4s. So without further ado, let's get started. As you guys can see, these midsoles are looking no bueno. Little Spanish tip of the day that directly translates to Shaquille O'Neal's free throw jump shot. But anyway, to get this started, we are going to take a file, any kind of file, and then just file away the top of the paint on the midsoles, just to help make sure that we won't get any of the chemicals we will be using to take the paint off onto the uppers, because that can stain and harm the uppers. So then after that, you can just take a paintbrush and wipe away all the excess dust from the paint. Now we're going to tape all around the midsoles in every area on the rubber and leather. Doesn't really matter what kind of tape you use. I will link some down in the description, but really any masking tape or painter's tape will work. Just spread it with your finger and then use your nail to kind of press it down so there's no air bubbles. And then for the Nike air bubble, you just want to put a little piece of tape over it and take any kind of sharp blade and then cut two little lines as I'm doing here, and then cut around it, and then it'll fit perfectly right on the air bubble so that you don't get any of the paint stained on the air bubble. So now that the midsoles are all taped up, we are going to be stripping the paint. I use this premium sprayable stripper. Really any paint stripper works, including Dad's Easy Spray. So I'm just pouring it into a half of an aluminum can. Then I'm cutting up these scouring pads with some scissors just into small little pieces. Then I would definitely recommend wearing gloves if you're using chemicals, because if it gets on your hands, it burns. I know from experience. So now just paint a nice thick coat onto the midsoles with the chemical, and after letting it dry or just go to work for a little bit, you can go at it with the scouring pad, just taking off a majority of the paint. And then after that, you can just use some nail polish remover and a cotton round or cotton ball, and then just wipe all the excess paint off, as you can see I'm doing here. So as you guys probably noticed, the paint will leave kind of a little stain on the midsoles, but as long as the midsoles are smooth, you'll be all good. Okay, so now as you can see here, you can take off all the tape, and you're probably like, Logie Dogs, why are you taking off all the tape when you're going to put some back on in a little bit? And the answer to that is all the chemicals we used weakened the tape, so then after this, the paint will be able to see through the tape and get onto the uppers. And that, again, is no bueno, so you're just going to want to do a new, fresh coat of tape if you want your shoes to end up looking good. Or you can just stay with the same tape and make your shoes look crappy. Your choice. So the biggest key to taping is just take your time, because prep work is key, and just make sure you do a good job. There's no real good technique, it's just more just use your knowledge and just try to get as good as possible. And then with trial and error, you'll find the best way that works for you on how to get the best tape jobs. And again, you're going to want to tape up the air bubbles. So you're going to use the same technique, just use like an X-Acto knife and cut out a piece like I'm doing here, and then just put it right where the air bubble is to cover it up from getting any paint on it. And no guys, you do not need a mop for this project, that is just my luscious hair. Okay, so now I'm just using an X-Acto knife just to smooth out the tape, make sure there's no air bubbles so none of the paint will leak through. This just ensures that there'll be as little leaks as possible. You won't be able to stop all the leaks, but still it really helps. So now all the materials you're going to need for this project is Angelus white paint, Angelus black paint. I'll list all the products down in the description. And then any kind of acrylic paintbrush. I'm just using this one that I got for pretty cheap on Amazon. I'll link it, and it works great. So now shake up your Angelus white paint, and then open the cap, and then you can just set it down and get just a little bit on the tip of your paintbrush. You don't need much. And then after that, just start swiping away at the midsoles. And this is optional here, but I use a heat gun to dry it, just to speed up the dry time so it reduces brush strokes, because you need to make sure the paint is completely dry before you put another coat on, or else there will be brush strokes if you start painting on already wet paint that's only partially dry. So when it comes to repainting midsoles, there's no exact number of coats you need to do. I usually do about 6 to 8, so I think here I was around 5 coats, and then I started using a bigger brush and I was doing thicker coats so that it really made sure it was a true white. And then now I'm just finishing off. This was my 8th coat and it was looking pretty good, so this was my last coat. And again, the biggest tip is just do quick, fast strokes so that there aren't any brush strokes, and if you do that, you should be good. So now if you have a second color like me, I'm going to be taping off the bottom portion of the midsoles so I can get the black going. So I'm just using that little line that the Jordan 4s have as a guide, and then just taping right along it. But all Jordans are different, so if you're doing a different pair of Jordans, just use your common sense to know if you need to tape any extra spots off, if you have an extra color, or if the midsole is all just one color. And again here, I'm just using an X-Acto knife to make sure there's no air bubbles, and I was using a heat gun just to kind of make it adhere completely to the bottom of half of the midsoles. So now I'll be using Angelus black paint, and then as you can see, I actually got a new paintbrush, but it's still just the same kind of acrylic paintbrush, and you can get it like angled. Those seem to be nice, but it doesn't really matter. So again, we're just gonna put just the tip of the paintbrush into the paint, just get a little bit, and then you can just start stroking away at the midsole. And yeah, again, just use fast strokes in different directions so that you can reduce brush strokes. Because if you do really long, slow strokes, or else you're going to see brush strokes. So just stick with fast and short strokes, and that way you'll be good. So now after about 6 coats of the black, I am done. So now I can start peeling away just the bottom half of the paint that's covering up the white part, not the rest of it. And just I found it works best to kind of peel it nice and slowly, just in kind of like like the angle that I'm pulling out away here. Or else sometimes if you pull it off too fast and at a weird angle, it can rip some of the paint off, which is definitely not good. So now it looks from far away like it's pretty good and it's perfect, but then once you get up close, you can see that they are in need of touch-ups. So with those spots, I just again dab the paintbrush into a little bit of the white paint, and then with just an angular brush, and then you can just kind of go along the line and just be really slow, really careful. And there will be a couple spots where you get a little bit of white paint onto the black portion, but just make sure you take your time, because there has been times when I just go from black to white to black to white to black to white, just keep switching, because you keep getting a little bit of paint on the opposite side. So just take it slow and try to get it done just in like 2 quick sessions. So here, this is just my second touch-up session. I'm finishing with the black, and then I actually did one more time for black and white after that. So then you can just take the air bubble tape off and get some nail polish remover and a Q-tip and just rub away just to get all that adhesive off. So now you're finally done painting the midsoles. As you can see, they should be looking pretty good by now. But now we got to make sure that they stay looking good for a while. So I like to use Krylon matte finish, or for other shoes you can use just Krylon crystal clear, which gives it more of a glossy finish. And so then just spray it after shaking it up for a while. Spray it all over. Just use pretty fast and short strokes. You don't want to cake it on there, else they will crack and again ruin your paint job. So now it's finally time to reveal your work. Take off all the tape. Again, just do it nice and slow so it doesn't rip. And you may need to do some minor touch-ups on the leather, but other than that, you should be all done and good to go. So I know, guys, my midsole repaints aren't absolutely perfect, but still they look so much better than before. And your guys', I'm guessing, won't be too amazing your first couple tries, so definitely don't do it on super expensive shoes. I would definitely wouldn't recommend doing a pair of like M&M 4s for your first midsole repaint. But so guys, so to wrap things up, just as a couple pointers. One, prep work is key. Just make sure to take your time when you're prepping the shoes with tape and with other things. And two, just don't watch a bunch of like videos and waste 20 hours just watching videos on how to do a midsole repaint. Just get the supplies, maybe watch a couple videos, and then after that, just go for it. You'll get most of your learning experience just through trial and error. And then after that, just after a couple midsole repaints, you'll get kind of the system down, and it'll be second nature to you. So that pretty much wraps it up, guys. This is Logan going with Going's Kicks, and this is my dad doing some yard work. Later, dudes.